So I've got some surprising news regarding Xbox Series X SoC chip. Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I would like to talk about Xbox Series X SoC chip, so the main processor of Xbox Series X console. Now I'm sure you know that this SoC has been built to power the console, but not only that, that chip, that processor with GPU on board as well, has been also built to power xCloud server blades. So whenever you use xCloud, whenever you play online, whenever you stream using xCloud, well, you are literally playing on these server blades. So it's like playing on Xbox Series X, but in these server racks, right? Now, obviously, these server blades, server racks have been modified, so it's not like they've got a bunch of Xbox Series X stuck on top of each other. It looks totally different, so they do use a little bit different technology when it comes to the main board and power supply and everything, right? But you know, the main processor, the SoC, system on a chip, is pretty much the same. There's no difference there, right? That's why when you play a game via xCloud, you're literally playing on Xbox Series X. Back in the days, it was Xbox One. They used to use Xbox One chips, but they were very limited because at the end of the day, these Xbox One chips or Xbox One X chips even were not designed with xCloud in mind, right? Now it's a bit different, and the whole philosophy behind Xbox Series X was not only to power the console, but also cloud gaming. Now, the interesting thing about this SoC, which obviously runs the games, is also this SoC can be used for other tasks when it's built into these server blades, right? And this is not really a news or like a new information, really, because even Phil Spencer, I remember, when he first introduced Xbox Series X, he was actually talking about the SoC also as being built for other purposes. So it can play games, obviously that's its main purpose. But on top of that, whenever these blades are not being used for gaming, you know, powering xCloud, they can be used for general computational tasks, or like for example, AI, right? And you know, right now a lot of, well, there's general move towards cloud. Like a lot of tasks these days when it comes to corporations and big tech, you know, these companies are moving a lot of stuff online, you know, into the cloud. So, you know, a lot of computational tasks and stuff are being made in the cloud, and that's what these Xbox Series X servers are being used for as well. So the situation is like whenever certain server racks are not being used for gaming because there's less people playing games, right, for like at this moment, well, these racks can be used as a part of Azure servers. They can be used for like other stuff like AI, and that's what Jez Corden was talking about like 2 or 3 days ago on his podcast, on the Xbox 2 podcast with Randall Thor. And basically, he was saying that Microsoft is really pushing for more and more of these servers to be built, because the thing is that they can actually make a lot of money on them, right? Because you know these chips have been created in a way that they are power efficient, but also quite powerful. So you know, and like combined power of these chips are quite, you know, significant, I would say, right? And they've been optimized for obviously servers and stuff. So and it's actually funny that Microsoft as a company, not Xbox per se, but Microsoft as a company actually makes a lot of money on these Xbox Series X servers when they are used for these other computational tasks, right, like AI. And that conversation, on Xbox 2 podcast was revolving around the fact that there's some Xbox Series X shortages in a lot of places. I must say that I haven't really seen any of that in Poland lately. Like whenever you go to any electronic store, there's plenty of PlayStation 5s, Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S consoles now. I've even seen some PlayStation 4 consoles on the store shelves. So here in Poland we are covered. Like that, you can like walk into the store and come out with any console you want, literally. But apparently, especially in states where Xbox is quite popular, there's a big shortage apparently of these consoles, and one of the reasons why there's actually more Xbox Series S consoles on the market than Xbox Series X is the fact that these Xbox Series X SOCs are being used for cloud. So a lot of consoles, potential consoles, are not being actually built because these SOCs are being used for streaming, for xCloud, and actually it makes sense for Microsoft even more because like they don't make any money on Xbox Series X consoles, like they're actually losing money, but actually they are making money on cloud. And that's why Microsoft is so interested in like pushing cloud and gaming and stuff, because it kind of fits into the whole Xbox, or should I say Microsoft cloud strategy and stuff. Like, back in the days, Microsoft was actually making a lot of money on Windows. They still make a lot of money on Windows, but not as much as they used to, right? At least when it comes, and maybe not nominally, but percentage wise, like Windows equates to like few percent of the whole Microsoft profits and stuff, right? They make more money on Azure cloud and Office suite, which really moved to the cloud as well. So everything is in the cloud, literally, right? Like Windows is not really, obviously servers do run a version of Windows, but it's actually funny that like, these gaming consoles, modified, because they are basically, they've been modified to fit into the, server racks and stuff. But still, like, these are Xbox consoles really running not only games, but also some other tasks like AI and stuff. And apparently Microsoft is quite happy with Xbox, not only because it was selling well, at least. Apparently, like, lately, that hasn't been the case. But you know what, like, on the sales numbers, I think it's not only because a lot of these chips are made into these server blades. Part of the reason, and I think that even bigger part of the bigger reason why Microsoft is not really selling these many consoles these days is just last year was really bad for Xbox when it comes to first-party releases. Even early this year, it wasn't staggeringly good. Yes, there was Hi-Fi Rush, there was Age of Empires. What else? They had Ghostwire Tokyo on Game Pass, and we are getting Redfall in next 2 weeks, and then some other Minecraft Legends actually released a couple of days ago, but there's not much buzz surrounding it. But like I think that once Redfall drops, and especially when Starfield and Forza Motorsport drops, the sales will probably pick up a little bit. But still, I still think that Microsoft will push Xbox Series X SOCs, so chips, towards Azure and these server blades rather than consoles. So you will still have the consoles, but I think that Xbox Series S was actually really built, for like mainstream and stuff, right? At the end of the day, like, Microsoft is not really focused much on the console market per se. They are building a huge ecosystem, but they do it in such a way that they can use it towards some other goals and corporate business as well. So yeah, I guess, listen, at the end of the day, if it works for Microsoft, that's fine. But as long as it runs games great, that's what I'm actually interested in. Although recently I've been a little bit disappointed with Xbox Series X performance in games. Obviously, it's not like I'm blaming Xbox Series X console per se, but it's falls on developers and Microsoft for, I guess, maybe not supporting developers, or maybe not supporting enough. Not supporting them enough. Who knows, right? Either way, but for example, Dead Island 2, which released or is releasing very soon, but there's been some benchmarks released already, runs great on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, all consoles, right? So I'm actually curious how Star Wars Jedi Survivor is going to run, and this game is coming out in 10 days or so. So I'll be looking at that launch, even though it's still last gen game, because even though it's only on the current gen consoles, but it's using Unreal Engine 4. I mean, obviously they did modify it a little bit for sure, but and Unreal Engine 4 supports next gen consoles, but it's still old technology. It's not Unreal Engine 5 really. So anyway, guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I found this particular information quite interesting, and it just shows how Microsoft is different from other companies like Nintendo and PlayStation, which are very focused on local experience and stuff, right? While Microsoft is more about building huge ecosystem with Game Pass in the center of it, really. So it's all revolving around Game Pass rather than Xbox as a console. But I'm totally fine with it. I play games on Xbox, I play games on PC, so I'm kind of happy about that. So I like what Microsoft is actually doing. But anyway, so like I said, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.